So welcome to our last class before we go into the studio, and then we'll be back on Zoom in December for 2 classes. But I'm excited to transition over there. So, oh crap. I want to share sound. I loved everybody's percussive sounds. Did you guys have fun doing it? Yeah. That's amazing. I wanted to share before we dive into some other stuff. I wanted to share this video with you all. Some of your work reminded me of it. So can you all see my screen? For some reason I can't do that.
This season, for the 5th season, I decided to use some new sounds, and so
So intro. This is, did anybody see the show Dexter? Yeah. So this is the guy that, I think he's the composer for the whole show. He's not the composer for the new series, but he made the theme song. So
this season, for the 5th season, I decided to use some new sounds, and so I collected a bunch of scalpels and surgical instruments and chemistry bottles to make a new sound for the show for Dexter.
voila. You guys did a great job with that, coming up with really cool, interesting ways to make percussive sounds. Does anybody want to share what they did? Because I'm the only one who heard everybody's. Rich, give it to us.
So I did. I have this this like wine bottle like case, and it has like metal buckles, and I sampled the opening and closing of the buckle, and then also I had an energy drink can, and so I crushed the energy drink can. And it actually turned out like pretty cool.
So you only crushed it once.
I only crushed it once. Yeah.
That's amazing. Really cool. Sounded great. Does anybody else want to share?
Yeah. I thought I had an egg shaker around the house somewhere, but I looked for it for a little bit and couldn't find it. So instead we have like a plastic container of rice. So I literally just ran to the kitchen, grabbed it, and then went like this at my microphone for a little bit for a shaker sound. And then I hit a pot lid as like a cymbal, and then I put reverb on it so that way it rang out a little bit more instead of just like tink, tink, tink. And yeah, I was able to get it to ring out a little bit, sound a little bit closer to an actual cymbal. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounded really good. And I loved the effect you put on it, made it really shine and give it a great texture. And Danny's saying that he used melatonin, which are vitamins, right? The pills to shake. And he put some reverb on it. And it was very cool. It added so much to his piece. You copied Mercy?
Yeah, actually, I sent him a video of me just recording the percussive sound. I just used whatever I can find on my table, and I have like a bunch of pills. So I just started.
Because you didn't label yours, so I was like, I think it's clip snapping that you're doing. And then I couldn't tell what your little shaker was. I was thinking like something of rice or something, but I didn't know it was pills. Somebody's raising their hands. Kat, what did you use?
I actually did this for audio homework 3 because I didn't know an option to create the 3-minute audio track. So I put percussive sounds over the commercial.
Cool.
And I think I remember using a table and like a bunch of crushed up leaves to imitate like the stomping sounds.
Nice. That's amazing. And then Madeline did a really cool something too. She wants to share what your
Oh.
percussive sounds were.
Yeah, so I used old project. I think it was MIDI assignment number 3, and at the end I had this very like chill like percussive like little beat on the bongos or whatever, with like this little chord progression. So I decided to add like me turning pages as well as me like writing on paper to kind of add to like this like ambiance of like just very chill and like pensive and whatnot. Yeah.
It made for a very soothing sound. I don't know, very ambient. It was really cool.
Thank you.
Nice job, everybody. I'm feeling so inspired. All right. Moving right along. So last week, does anybody have any questions on the aux track, busing, sends? Does everybody feel really comfortable putting reverb on those? And delay? Yeah. Cool. Did anybody discover anything when they were experimenting with reverb and delay that they want to share? No. Cool. Well, today we are going to talk about stereo recording techniques because next week we will be in the studio and we're going to be meeting in the studio. Let me look up the room. Does everybody know where it is? The recording studio? Mercy does.
No, I don't.
Okay, let me look up the room number.
It's on the right side of Lefrak, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I just know the room number. It's 268, MU 268.
Yeah.
Was Rich right, Mercy? Can you confirm? Yes. So
Yeah,
where is
so
it?
when you go, like, let's say you're facing towards Lefrak, where it literally says Lefrak, and they usually have like the couches and whatnot. You go right and you go down to like head towards the back of Lefrak on the right side. It's like one of the first doors on your right side. It's right next to Justin's office, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's right across.
Yeah.
Right from his office. Cool. Does that make sense to everybody? Alrighty. Well, this will be so fun. So stereo recording techniques. There's a bunch of ways that we can mic things, but one of the ways, because mics are mono, but we can use 2 mics to get a stereo feeling. So stereo recording is a technique involving the use of 2 mics to simultaneously record one instrument. The mono signals from each microphone assigned to the left and right channels of the stereo track create the sensation of width when recording. So does everybody at home have a condenser mic that they've been using?
Yes.
Wonderful. So on your condenser mic, there are probably what are called polar patterns, and you can pick which one you want to use. And this is kind of what it will record. So an omnidirectional mic will record in front of you and a circle around you. Then the figure 8 mic will record this surrounding. So any sound happening over here and over here will not be recorded. This is subcardioid, and this is cardioid. Subcardioid, and this is cardioid. This is hypercardioid and supercardioid and shotgun. So whatever little selection you put on your mic, that is what it's going to pick up, that vicinity. Does anybody have any questions? Has anybody played around with this when they've been recording their stuff? All right. So XY stereo. This is one recording technique that you can use for some instruments such as guitar. You use 2 directional mics, usually small diaphragm condensers, positioning at an angle between 90 and 135 degrees so that their capsule coincide at a single point. The wider the angle, the wider the stereo image. Then there's what's called AB, which is 2 omnidirectional mics. So you put the setting on condenser mics to omnidirectional. And then you point both mics towards the instrument at a distance of 1 foot and space between 2 feet apart. So again, a really good way to mic the guitar. This is ORTF, which you do 110-degree spread and 17 centimeters apart to get another version of a sound that you want. And we can, when we go in the studio, we can play around with all of these different mic techniques, especially if we're recording guitar or also if we're recording the room sound of anything. Somebody's doing something in the chat. Oh, okay, good. Then there's what's called the Blumen pair, which is you use 2 figured 8 mics. So you put the switch to the figure 8 option on the condenser mic and you position them 90 degrees apart. There's pluses and minuses to all these different sounds when you're recording, and then the mid-side stereo. So 1 small diaphragm condenser, either cardioid or omnidirectional. 1 large diaphragm condenser must be a figure 8. Position the figure 8 mic, place it sideways at a 90-degree angle from the instrument so it picks up all the harmonic tones around that are coming off. This mic will record the sound on both sides and will function as the side in the term of mid-side. The other mic is positioned on top or below the figure 8 and is pointed directly towards the instrument. It will be functioned as the mid in terms of mid-side. So when you're plotting out how you want to record your piece, consider what kind of miking techniques you want to use, or if you want to try a couple different options when we're in the studio, that's cool too. Certain things like the bass and vocals, you just use 1 microphone, but if there's like guitar, you get different sounds in different places. Piano, you get different sounds in different places. So it's good to use different techniques. Anybody have any questions on miking techniques?
Where do you make changes so that way it's for the different polar patterns? Is that?
Oh, so
Pro
if you
Tools?
see, it's different on every mic, but it's generally below this, there's like this little thing right here. And it has little images that mirror this. And that's how it's a
Okay.
little switch that you puck. What kind of microphone do you have?
An SM57 or 58. I was
Oh, okay.
forgetting
So
which one I
that's a
got.
dynamic mic, and that's
Right,
not
yeah.
gonna have
Okay, that's okay.
polar patterns. Yeah. So this is only on condenser mics.
Mhm.
All right. Now I wanted to talk about everybody's final projects. We're gonna have Jason and Emmanuel do their project next week, which I'm very excited about. Jason sent his lead sheet to Caitlin and myself and a MP3 of what he's gonna do. I just want to go around the room and everybody talk about what they're thinking about for their final projects to get the ball rolling. So Jason, you want to start since you're prepared? And other people
Sure.
might be still thinking.
Yeah. So my piece, if I were to put a genre under it, I guess like electropop. It's very upbeat, high energy, and I guess like a general feel-good track. And the lyrics follow like a theme of love, like a couple in love, like a typical pop song. Instrumentation, I used a lot of different sounds from Expand, so a lot of synthesized like lead sounds, bass sounds, pretty much everything. Like every aspect of it is a synthesizer from Expand. And I basically chose like random presets that I thought sounded cool and tweaked them a little bit. maybe added effects like reverb and such. So yeah.
Sounds
ins
great.
yeah. So inspiration. Um, I had a few other songs that I was listening to, but I think my song kind of turned out like really different. Like I tried to copy some of the synth sounds that I heard from other songs, and it worked out pretty well, but yeah. What's the next one? What do I envision the outcome to be like? I have no idea. I'm really nervous about the final outcome.
Well, so far it sounded really, really good.
Thank you. I think it might sound a little empty as it is right now, but maybe after we add the vocals, hopefully it'll sound fuller. And yeah, I'm really excited to be working with you, Caitlin. Thank you so much for helping me record. Yeah, that's my song.
And then what kind of mic you think you're gonna use?
What kind of mic?
Yeah, do you want to use a condenser or a dynamic microphone?
I would probably use a condenser just because that's the one I'm most familiar with.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions for Jason? Or want to hear more? Cool. Rich, you want to share what you're working on? And you can also, if anybody's stumped about what they want to do, they can ask for advice from all of us.
Sure. So I want to make a sort of like acoustic or like orchestral quartet version of an old song from like the 2000s. It's called Walk Away by a band called Mad at Gravity. I have a feeling that nobody here has ever heard of that band before. So I'm thinking I'm a little stumped still on whether or not it should be like big or just like a small quartet scenario. I haven't really decided 100%, but I mean, I am still working on that piano part. I'm sorry, Mercy. I'm gonna need a little bit more time. But I promise it's not hard. Like the song is pretty repetitive, but I mean it's personally my favorite song like of all time. So I'm like excited to do it and also nervous to like not do it justice. So yeah.
Fair enough. Anybody want to ask Rich any questions or add what they would want to hear in a song like that? Does anybody know the song?
I can't really see anybody, but does anybody actually know that song? Has anyone ever heard that song before? Probably.
Do you want to play that song for us, Rich?
How I guess I could
Google
post
it.
it in the chat. Here, hold on 1 second. Hold on, sorry. Oh wait. Has anyone ever heard of so there's a movie, you know, the guy that that played the Batman, like Batman Begins, The Dark Knight?
Val Kilmer? Is it Val
No,
Kilmer?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. So Christian Bale, the movie's pretty good too, but I like the song. Anyway, so the movie is about dragons, and it's actually one of the very few movies that referring to dragons that's actually pretty good. And it has Christian Bale in it. But yeah, so I put it in the chat. It's really loud at the very beginning, so if you have your sound system all the way up, just get ready to get smacked in the face.
So how about everybody, let's take a couple minutes to listen to it. And then Rich, you're thinking of making it big or a quartet?
To tell you the truth, I sort of want it to be sort of big, but also, so like everybody knows Stranger Things, right? So Stranger Things, they've made huge things like running up that hill, which is like this super simple like 1980s song, and they made this huge like orchestral version of it, and that always like seemed really really cool to me. And I sort of want to go on that route, but I feel like I don't think that I have enough time to do that. I feel like maybe it should be kept simple and on my own time make it better.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, everybody have a listen, and if we can offer Rich any advice, let's think. And if not, that's cool too. Everybody listen to it all? Any thoughts?
You said you were kind of going back and forth between like big or something like more acoustic quartet-y.
Yeah.
At least for me, since it's already so like big and intense, I would go the other way.
Okay.
And then like you play cello, right?
Yeah.
Like even if like you simplified the chords and then had like the cello do some more of like the rhythm work, there's a lot of like little bits where like that little like breakdown like 2/3 of the way through or something like that. Like something like that will, I feel like, keep it like energetic but change it still. And
Okay.
I would imagine that would be easy enough because it's mostly like rhythmic. Like it'd be easy enough to like write out really quick, just like the little
Yeah.
like and then go from there. I don't know what other instruments I would use, but that was just what I thought.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Awesome advice. Anybody else? I hear like a lot of strength on the 2 and 4. I don't know, like a bass plucking, an upright bass sound, doing like pizzicato on the 2 and 4 could be really cool. And
I
like
do.
doing
I
the,
want to keep that because there's that sliding sound that they have in it, and that
Mhm.
I really want to keep in.
yeah,
Like I know that's not possible, like on a piano, you know.
yeah,
Like that's where I need piano, but I also need the strings to keep that like slide in and whatnot.
right.
But yeah.
I can picture during the solo, the violins really going to town at that part. Any other thoughts for Rich? Do you hear any piano part, Mercy, in there?
I don't think so, but I think it's doable.
Oh, no.
Yeah, were you so for the piano, would you want it to be like more of a ballad or like as big
Could you say that one more time?
so for the piano part, would you prefer it to be like is my mic picking up? Hello?
It's pretty quiet.
Yeah, I was asking like if for the piano part, would it be more like a ballad thing or like would it be as big as that?
It'd probably be if I was gonna go small, like quartet wise, plus like piano, I'd probably use piano, for like the verse and whatnot to like maybe like outline chords and whatnot and maybe even use it more as like a rhythmic piece rather than just like straight like block chords and whatnot. So,
Yeah, okay. I think it's doable. Yeah. The chords are pretty okay. Kind of figured out.
okay, cool. Awesome.
Cool. That's great. Anybody else? It's going to be great, Rich. You picked a tough one. I'm not going to lie. But I think it'll be worth it.
I hope so.
All right. So how about Mercy, you want to tell us about your final project?
Yeah, sure.
You're can't hear you.
Is this better? Oh, I don't know what's happening. Is it better?
Yes.
Okay. So, my piece, it's a composition for a piano and a violin duet kind of thing. And it's inspired by an anime that, is some of you might have heard of it. It's Your Lie in April. So like it's like a story between a girl who plays the violin and a guy who plays the piano. And so that's why that inspired this piece. And I'm not really sure how what MIDI tracks I should add on because initially I just thought of it as a performance type of thing
Mhm.
rather than like So yeah, what else do I say about it? Yeah. So
Uh,
a violin thing.
and so during our class, you're going to record piano?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna find another violin.
And then how are you going to mic both of them?
That's the thing I'm trying to figure out. So I think would it be better for 2 mics on the pretty wide?
Oh, we just lost you.
I was asking like, would it be better to mic it both ways? Mics on the two mics on the piano?
Yeah, I mean, we could try both ways. The good thing is, because Jason, you're doing, oh no, you're doing voice. So I'm not sure where you are in the lineup, I forget. But we could, I would suggest doing on the bass of the piano and the treble of the piano, and then also doing a mic for the room. And then we can start there. But we can also do like try a stereo pair too, to see what kind of sound you like.
Okay, we can try that. And for the violin, would we mic it like how we mic a ukulele?
Yeah, I think so. A condenser mic, because it's pretty sensitive. So cool. Love it. Adam, let's hear about Stand By Me.
Yeah, so I'm just doing a cover of Stand By Me. It's kind of like what I have in my head is a combination of the original and then the John Lennon cover. So less, I guess less of that like old style, like lots of strings and stuff like that, and a little bit more like acoustic guitar campfire-y. So instrumentation wise, it'd just be acoustic guitar, either vocals or I guess I could play the melody on some woodwind instrument. Then drums, I would do MIDI. How many live audio tracks do we need for this again?
2.
Yeah, so the live tracks would definitely be the acoustic guitar and I guess either the vocals or the melody on an instrument. I wrote up a lead sheet for guitar, but I don't think I've talked with anybody about like vocals yet. But it's a pretty popular song, so hopefully somebody knows it. And so those would definitely be the 2 live tracks. And then drums I would do myself. And then there's like a solo section after, or I guess like before the last chorus, that I'd probably play on sax. But yeah, I'm just looking for just really simple and kind of stripped down. Like for miking, I would probably do, just looking at it, the A-B setup
Nice.
on the guitar, because I want, especially during like the verses, I want to hear, and I put it in the lead sheet, but like kind of stopping the strings with your hand and hearing that like pop on, what is it? Like on beat 2. Yeah. I want to hear that and then also do like a little bit of like drum stuff on top of that. But like, especially during the verses, I want most of the rhythm to be just like hitting the body of the guitar.
Nice.
And
So
yeah, that's pretty much it.
we'll record the strumming of guitar and then record like percussive guitar during class.
Yeah, something like that. Even if it's just in one, like just 1 and hit and 4 and 1 and hit. And just even if it's just on 2 and 4, nothing crazy. Yeah, I don't know what else I would add on drums because I don't want it to be too like I want it to feel like acoustic and like just kind of like sitting around playing through it. Like I was thinking like a cajon would be really cool. I don't know if anybody has one of those the boxes that you sit on them and you play them between your legs, like that would be like the amount of drums I want.
Yeah.
But so figuring out some other way to make that happen.
Does anybody have one? A cajon?
I don't. It's not one of the many random instruments that I have. But yeah, that's really it. It should be hopefully super simple.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Madeline, what are you going to do for your final project?
So for my final project, I was kind of stuck. I didn't know whether I wanted to do an original song or a cover, but I decided on an original song.
Nice.
It's I don't even know what genre it would fall under. I guess like a mixture of like pop and R&B. I guess it's a very like cute little like simple song. I ended up writing it to acoustic guitar like chord progression I found on YouTube.
Nice.
So like the guitar part is really simple. I still had to figure out the the actual chords themselves. So like, I'm sorry, Kat, I haven't sent it to you yet, but I'll get that as soon as possible. But yeah, what else do I say about it? It is basically just a little like love song, I guess. The concept of it is like I had this project in my head, this idea of kind of portraying a love story through like the seasons. And
Mm.
so this song specifically is the summer. So yeah.
Do a whole EP season.
Yeah. A seasonal EP, yeah. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it.
Cool. So Kat's going to be your guitarist.
I believe so. I think that's what it said on the sheet.
Wonderful. Lovely. And Kat, what are you going to do for your final project? If you're with us.
I'm still deciding between also same with Madeline on original or on a cover.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to keep it simple for the instrumentalist. I think that's as far as I have for now.
Cool. And Danny, are you able in an area where you can share yet? I know you're having internet issues. Or we'll hear about it later. Wonderful. Ah, I can't wait. Okay, Danny's saying maybe something jazzy. Lofty. Lofty? I'm not sure what lofty is. I'm so old.
She's an artist.
Oh, okay.
She's like a jazz artist.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm gonna have to look that up later. Wonderful. That's exciting. I'm so excited. This is gonna be great. All right, continuing on. So here we go. So next, I wanted to talk about when you're done with your song, what you can do with it, because it's nice to be able to share your songs with the world. So has anybody ever shared their songs on iTunes or anything, or put it out there? Or Spotify, YouTube? No? Somebody saying something? Kat has shared her songs. That's amazing. So if you go to CD Baby, you can upload your song. I think it costs like $30 and it'll share it with iTunes, Spotify, and you can, that's a really good way to get your song out there. Mercy too. Mercy had put her up. Bashful Mercy. Thank you, Danny, for outing her. There's also a cool website called Patreon. Does anybody know what Patreon is? Yeah, so Patreon is basically you subscribe to an artist and they send you exclusive work every week or ever so often, and you get to have like the insight into that artist. It's a really, really cool way to get closer to an artist, and also if you're an artist, have people support you. Then there's also this thing called metadata, which is how it's you are able to search for music. So if I type in my iTunes like scary, I will get all songs that are scary, and they're not necessarily in the title say scary, but the metadata makes them be able to pop up, which is another cool way to get your songs heard. And then does anybody know what a music supervisor is? So music supervisors are the people that pick the songs that are on shows or movies or TVs, or the TV. So if anybody has like a favorite show and like you hear music on it and you're like, that sounds amazing, it's a music supervisor that picked that song and got it able to be on that show. So that's another really good outlet to get your music heard, by getting it on shows and films and stuff. And then there's also music license libraries, which you put your music into these libraries, and those libraries get your songs out into the world. So that's just, if anybody's interested in putting their songs onto the internet. Those are some options on how to do that. Does anybody, Mercy, Kat, what have been your experiences on getting your music out there? Is it a good thing?
There's no revenue.
There is there is minimal revenue out there, yeah. The film and TV route is better than Spotify for sure. Well, that's good. You're not getting hate comments. Okay. So there's also what's called PROs, which ensure that performance royalties are collected whenever your music is played. So when you put your song on to CD Baby or YouTube or wherever, you sign your song up with what's either ASCAP or BMI, and there's a couple others, but they are track your song and make sure if it's getting revenue anywhere, then you get paid for that revenue. So normally it's pennies, but if it's on a TV show or a film, then it can amount to some money, not a terrible amount, but has anybody signed up for ASCAP or BMI? No. Another just food for thought. Okay. So let's go to a little more fun topics. So ways to make your chorus pop. Does anybody have any suggestions on how to make your chorus pop? I have a few here. Adam, how have you made your choruses pop?
I just try to make everything like bigger, but still like related to whatever's in like the verse of what I made. Yeah, like I'm not a singer and I don't like play guitar, so I feel like my first ideas are usually more like rhythmic and stripped down, and so then I just try to kind of take whatever rhythm was in the verse and just bring it up a little, like add a few extra notes or things like that. I try to like think more like open in general, more like more of everything, but not so much more that it feels like a completely different song is usually what I try to go for, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Anybody else? Madeline, you've added harmonies, which is
I
a
have.
great way to make choruses pop.
I also do like ad libs as well. I feel like harmonies are very underrated. I feel like a really good like harmony, it just makes you want to repeat that part of the song over and over and over again. So definitely harmonies, I would say.
Yeah. Anybody else? I have here pumping the bass. So if you have quarter notes on the bass in the verse, maybe make your bass notes the eighth notes in the chorus. And same with guitars, starting on the one chord to really emphasize that it's, this is the start of the big section. If you have longer notes in your melody in the verse, making shorter phrases in the chorus also gives a different transition and changes the feel. Adding hand claps is a really easy way to make it pop. And pre-choruses. So anybody else want to add tips of their experiences for poppy choruses? All right. So the next thing I want to do is talk about musical color. So musical color is the tone, color, or timbre of a musical instrument that is unique sound quality to any instrument that distinguishes it from another instrument, a quality that is not associated with pitch, rhythm, or volume. So what feelings do you get from it? How does the instrument make you feel? How is it used in a piece? What other instruments do it work? And does it work well with? So like Rich, for your project, you can have the same part in one instrument. So you can have the cello playing one instrument, and you can also put that same exact part in a different instrument, and it will give it a whole nother feeling and also beef up your piece if you're looking to do that. So you can have different parts, different instruments playing the same part, and it generates a whole new color. So what I wanted to do was to go through, and Adam, you did a great job last week talking about the saxophone and flute and how those two instruments evoke sounds in us or evoke feelings in us. So let's just go down the list and let's talk about the cello first, since Adam gave us the horns. And what kind of feelings does the cello give us, and what would it be good to use it for? Rich, playing the cello, what is the best use of a cello, you think? Is it scary? Is it emotional? Is it sad?
I think it can be anything, but I find that it usually works the best, like with like more like emotional kind of. But I mean, I feel like you could say that about any of the stringed instruments that you don't like strum. Like I feel like violin and viola could be just as emotional, and like I guess so could wind instruments. But I've always understood that cello is most closely related to the human voice. So it's a good replacement for like, for that. Yeah, and Dan, that's right. I find cello to be the most warm in terms of tone. But I would say the really, really high notes, like unless you're going for like some epic chorus, the high notes can get kind of whiny, I guess. Whereas like violin, they can be clearer and more like precise. So I tend to stay away from like the really crazy high notes, but
That's great. Anybody else have any feelings that the cello gives you? How about the violin? Rich was saying it's emotional as well. What about, can you use it for like, did anybody see Psycho? The movie can be very scary. The violins could be. Any other thoughts? How about the harp?
I've used the harp quite a bit in my assignments. I find it to be very like ethereal. If I want the melody to be like otherworldly,
Yeah.
I guess if that's the way to describe it, I would definitely like use the harp to kind of bring that out.
Yeah, whimsical. And Kat saying solemn, and Mercy saying heavenly. Yeah, totally. Very floating. What about the piccolo? Adam kind of touched upon this last week with the flute.
It's really high.
Yeah.
I usually associate it with like really either like nature and like birds, or like military, like Stars and Stripes Forever, like marches, and
Was it used in Lord of the Rings too, for like the hobbits?
probably. I've actually never seen. I've read the books, but I've never seen any of those movies. I couldn't tell you.
Cool. Rich is
you've never
baffled.
go listen to the entire soundtrack. Every single song from every movie is like actually like amazing.
I bet.
How about guitar? Acoustic, and then we'll do electric. What feelings does guitar give, or what are good uses of it? Kind of like it could be used for anything, but Adam's using it to make his like campfire-y sound. What else could you do? We're getting in liveliness from Danny. Yes, very raw. Yeah, you can just have guitar, which is amazing. You can't really do that with a lot of instruments. Electric, you can do like epic. You can make it epic. Meant more like the live aspect of it. Are you talking about guitar? The live aspect of guitar, Danny? That's true. How about tuba? I think there's Curb Your Enthusiasm has their theme song uses tuba. Often used for like, could be quirky and make things funny.
Yeah, or like the opposite, like ominous, like Jaws.
Nice. Cadence. I'm not sure what that means. Danny's saying cadence. How about the theremin? Does anybody know what theremin means? Or a theremin instrument is? Rich.
Theremin is the one. It's like it looks like that, and you move your hand around on it, right?
Yeah, it's very
Um,
eerie.
Yeah, spooky.
Yeah.
They
Cool.
also do, if you want a sound that's like the theremin, but you don't want to deal with the theremin, they make these like saws, and you can run your bow, like a bow on this saw,
Mm,
and they get a lot of like the horror movie sounds from that. That it's really cool.
yeah, there's a guy down in Chinatown in the subway that plays the saw.
Yeah.
Any other instruments that you guys want to share that evoke feelings? No. Cool. All right, so we're going to do a Halloween activity. So in small groups, I want people to pick a Halloween song and determine what makes it sound Halloweeny. What's a color, the instrumentation, the rhythm, the tone, and just give us a rundown on how the composer or producer made it spooky for you. Sound good? All right, so let's do breakout room. Here we go. We'll do 3 breakout rooms. Perfect. Okay, so let's come back in 15 minutes. Pick your song and let us know what you think. Cool.
inviting you maybe to do like a small part after.
Inviting me? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I'm down. Just let me know when.
Okay, I'll let you know. Wait, Professor, are we gonna be able to like because it's only like one instrument. Like for my case, it would be Mercy on the piano. But
Mhm.
after that, we can go back to the studio and like adjust it, or how will that work?
Yes. So once we go into the studio, once Justin is going to send me a link for you guys to be able to sign out the studio anytime you want. So, but you have to go in there and get instruction on what to do once before you're able to do that. So you'll have the rest of the semester to, record
Oh,
whatever.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank
No problem. So, how to give me the spooky story? Who wants to go first? I got a hand raised from Kat. Kat.
Hi, so I was paired with Mercy. We chose the song Thriller by Michael Jackson.
Nice.
We pointed out 5 elements that made it spooky. And the first was the synths, which it was giving a night pop city vibe. And also there were, I think the song consisted of mostly minor chords. And Mercy also pointed out the presence of applied chords, which are like chords that don't really fit but fit.
Nice.
And they made them pop out.
What are those called? Applied chords?
Applied chords. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see. But the third thing was sound effects. So the song literally started with a door like creaking open, and then throughout the song there were wolf sounds, which gave into the horror elements too. The fourth was that the lyrics were narrative. It was telling a story, and I'm pretty sure it's dirty, like, but Michael did use words like corpse, terror, goals, words we associate just with Halloween in general.
Nice.
And then the last was the visual element. So like the music video or the album or the song artwork, very Halloweeny, zombies, scary.
Awesome.
That's it for us.
Cool. Nice work. Who's the next group? Jason.
So our group discussed the song "This Is Halloween" from that one Halloween movie, and what stood out to us was, of course, the minor key, which modulates like really often throughout the piece. So like, you never feel grounded. It's always unsettling, and yeah. Also, we discussed the timbre of like the voices singing, and how like each of the voices kind of interweaved with each other to create that unsettling texture. And of course also the voices were like imitating like monsters and stuff, so like a witch like would sound really very shrill and like high pitched, or like maybe there'd be a ghoul singing very low. Yeah.
Cool.
I mentioned as well how the intervals of the notes being sung or the being played by like some of the background instruments, there were like big jumps, which gave this feeling of like being chased, kind of.
Oh, interesting. Unsteady. And rich and
Although
I'm sorry.
although the beat was steady, but just like the jumps and the intervals made it seem that way.
Unsteady feeling is what I meant. Sorry. Cool. Madeline and Rich, you did the Thriller or you did the Halloween?
We did Halloween as well.
You want to add anything?
We were talking about like the driving like percussion in certain sections, and then when like it was Maddie had mentioned that like the instrumentation followed what they were actually singing about. So when it was airy, or like when they were talking about the wind, it followed that same theme. And then also like the sort of not random, but like the random sounds they used throughout the music to like just like the sounds of like certain things happening. So like I pointed out like the pumpkins hitting the metal spikes in the beginning, and just like, I don't know, adding a little bit of like flair to like a simple song.
Cool. Awesome job. Does anybody love Halloween? I love Halloween. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, great. Well, let's take a little break and we'll come back and do our final project for reconvene. Let's do 6:20. Come back.
Are we able to see the form with the sheet with our names on?
I have a Google Sheet. I think I shared it with all you. I can take a screenshot and put it on the Google Classroom, if that helps.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? No? Cool. Well, happy Halloween, everybody. I can't wait to hear your spooky stuff.
Oh,
And
it's so sorry. So for this week's assignment, we just built based off what we have right now. And
yeah, unless you want to start something brand spanking new, but
Okay.
sound good? And I will see you all next week in person. It's always weird. All
Can't
right.
wait to meet you all.
Yeah, it'll be very exciting. All right. Have a good night, everybody. And room 268.
Good night.
Thank
Night.
you.
And Emmanuel, let me show you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.